When we think about shelter, normally the first thing that comes to our mind is carrying some type of emergency shelter tarp that we can set up in a lean-to or plow point type configuration. But the reality is our shelter starts way before that. It's what we wear on us. That's our number one shelter that any of us have. So in today's video, I want to talk to everybody about my thought process around our number one shelter, and that's the clothing that we wear out into the woods. So dressing appropriately is our first line of shelter to keep ourselves safe in a woodland type environment. There's three things that I'd like to share with everybody today, and it's what I like to teach people when they think about how should I dress to go outside. The first thing I like to tell people is you need to think about the time of year, time frame, and what is going to be any type of deviation from the current weather. And what I mean by that is, if it's February, as it is now in here in Pennsylvania, I know there's a quite good chance that it's going to drop below freezing tonight. And during the daytimes, it's probably not going to get too high over 40 degrees. Although you're always going to have some outliers, the majority of the time, that's what I'm going to look at. So I want to dress for that below freezing type temperature, because if something would happen, I want to be dressed appropriately enough that if I need to and I need to sit against a tree or sit for a while and move and sit for a little while, that I don't need a fire to maintain myself at least overnight. So I always like to tell people that's the first thing you want to think about is what's the weather, what's the environment like, and dress for the worst case environment in that time frame, in time period that you're going out. The second thing I like to tell people is to make sure you layer your clothing. The more layers you wear, the warmer it's going to trap the heat, and also it's going to allow you, as you work or do bushcrafting or any type of camp maintenance, if you start to warm up, you can take off hats, you can take off vests, you can strip all the way down to just your base layer if you would need to. So that's something you want to keep in mind. It also allows you to bundle back up as you get colder. So dressing in layers is a super important thing to think about also. And lastly is what type of materials to wear. Now, I'm not going to sit here and get in a big discussion of what's the best, but I'll tell you my personal opinion, and that is all natural materials. So I'm looking at cottons, wools, leather, canvas, things like that. They just seem to hold up a lot better in the woods. I really think that they work out much better. I know when I'm layered right now, I have a heavy cotton base layer on, I have a wool sweater, and I have a cotton flannel vest on, along with heavy canvas pants. And this stuff works out great for me. It doesn't shred apart when I go through briar bushes or any kind of thorns. It holds up really well, and it reacts really well to the environment around me. So every time you go out, if you think about dressing as if you are a shelter, it's going to keep you in a safer place when you're going out to recreate. And also keep in mind that we're thinking about the time period and what the worst weather can be, and dressing for that, layering, and then choosing the appropriate materials for our clothing. This was Dan Wowak with Coalcracker Bushcraft. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I like to try to just keep stuff simple and not overcomplicate it. You really have to get out and just experiment with things. But if you think about just the common sense, dressing for the weather, layering, and using the right materials, you're definitely keep yourself safe in the woodland type environment. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the video below. You can also check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com. And until the next video, stay in the woods, guys.